Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful brand new day, and it's time for Earth's Ascension with Ortrun and Carl Franklin. Good morning, Ortrun and Carl.
Good morning, Dana, and everyone.
Everyone that's tuned in, we're so glad to be with you again. And the year is going by fast, isn't it? It's already into July, and end of July, actually. So today's program that we're going to be focusing on is for Earth's Ascension is called Ascension Symptoms. Now, in not this particular podcast have we spoken about that so much, but over the years we have spoken about that on that topic. But one of the revelations that Carl had just recently was how when we look at these symptoms, ordinarily we think of them as being as something negative. We're feeling down. We have a flu. We have various symptoms going on. But the more that you come to know what the Ascension is all about, you recognize also that this is also for your good, for your highest good also. Because if you are experiencing symptoms, it also means that you are going through that, I'm going to say that fourth dimensional change, where you're in a time of change, where you're going through on some level an initiatory process. So, Carl, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there are two root causes to the Ascension symptoms. The first one is releasing. There's stuff that you have within your physical, mental, emotional bodies that tend to be holding you back from growing, from moving beyond the third dimension into the fourth and fifth dimension. And in order for that growth to these higher dimensions to occur, anything that's holding you back needs to be cleared. And to be cleared, it has to come to the surface. And if it remains buried and hidden, it's simply going to be like putting your feet on the accelerator and the brakes at the same time. So it comes to the surface to be cleared. But also, another basic cause for the Ascension symptoms is it's a sign that you're growing. Not only are you clearing, but your body, your thoughts, your emotions are taking in higher frequency energies. And in order for them to do that, they have to adjust to these higher frequencies. And so either one or both of them can at times cause physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual discomfort. Now, on the spiritual level, if you hold on to the current interpretation used by churches of the Bible, well, Christianity is based on sin and on love. It has that dual nature to it. In the fifth dimension, duality is gone. It no longer exists. So our religious beliefs have to change so that they are 100% positive. And it's us reading the Bible from a higher level of consciousness spiritually. So any discomfort that you might be going through, I want to suggest a procedure here. Number one, identify that you're going through it. And in a meditative state, ask the question, what have you come to teach me? What am I to learn from this experience? And the answer may be you're simply to release it, or you're to fill it with love and light and transmute it, and then replant it within your own body at the frequency of love and light, okay? So ask the question, what have you come to teach? And be receptive to the answer. The answer may come immediately. It may come as a vision. It may come as an emotion. Or it may come in a dream at some later date. But be aware of the question, what am I to learn? And keep your mind open to receive the answer. Keep your heart and mind open, all right? So Earth is now high fourth, low fifth dimension. That is the planet. The collective consciousness of humanity has now finally left the higher third dimension and entered the lower fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is a short, intense period of rapid change. And rapid change leads to chaos. And as you can tell, things are getting more chaotic on the economic level, the political level, on the religious level, and in most of our personal lives. And physically, we're transitioning too. Our physical body is going through a couple of dramatic changes at this point. One is DNA. Ortrun and I, when we were born with 21 active codons in our DNA. We both now have 22 active codons. Now, to understand this, the two-strand helix of the DNA, those two twisted lines are connected by a number of horizontal lines. In fact, there are 64 of those horizontal lines in each strand of DNA. And most people that evolved on the Earth have 20 of those 64 codons that are active. The ones that carry crystal and indigo energy that did not evolve here, but have chosen to lower their vibration to come here to help with the ascension process, they come in with 21 and sometimes 22 active codons. And just one additional active codons, those that have 21, their IQs are 30 to 40% higher than the normal, all right? That's the amount of change. Their potential is so much greater. So we're having to adjust to our DNA evolving and activating additional codons. And also, our bodies are transitioning from a carbon base to a crystal base. And that's going to affect every single cell within our body and every single organ, every single nerve ending, etc. It's affecting everything within our physical body. And this is an ongoing process. And this process, at times, is going to create physical discomfort. Do not focus on the discomfort, but express gratitude for it. Because you're either in the process of releasing something, and that's where you go into meditation and ask, what am I releasing? What am I to learn from it? And also in meditation, you can ask, is this discomfort a sign of something changing in my body? And if you want to know, ask, what is it? And what can I expect as a result? And focus on the result that this change is going to bring. So whether it's a releasing or whether it's an advancement in your body, both cases are caused by and will result in an increased frequency of the energy out of which your body is made, be it your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, or even your soul body. Okay? So that's what's happening with us physically. Now, on a mental level, there are so many thought patterns that we have developed in this lifetime. Some of them may even be carryovers from past lifetimes, but that are negative, that are not constructive, that are judgmental, that are critical, that are fear-based. None of that's going to fly in the fifth dimension. But we need to get rid of thought, a negative, limiting, judgmental, guilt, thoughts of I'm not good enough, and so on. Anything that limits or is negative, we need to be aware of, and we need to change it, transform it, or just send it out and see it turning into light. Okay? And if you hold on to these thoughts, you are impeding your own growth. You are impeding the growth of the collective human consciousness. and you are creating more stress on yourself. Because you see, the earth is at a higher frequency than the collective consciousness of humanity. And thus, we're in disharmony with the earth. As we raise our consciousness, the closer we become to the earth's consciousness, the less the disharmony, and that's replaced with harmony, where the earth can now support us. And as we move ahead of the earth in our growth in consciousness, we are helping the planet itself to raise its frequency. And we know its frequency is raising at an unprecedented rate. And we can measure that with the electromagnetic energy that it radiates, that has gone from 7.8 hertz, that is vibrations per second. And I just read this week that it's now averaging 70 to 80 hertz per second, with occasional spurts above 100 hertz. And that's all since 1987. So the earth is growing at a rapid rate, and we need to grow to keep up with it, all right? So that we can be a help to the earth rather than be a hindrance and drag it, slowing down its growth. So keep your physical body in harmony with the earth by keeping your frequency of the energy out of which your physical body is made as close to the earth's frequency as you can, or if you want to be really helpful, raise it above the earth. And I believe that if we're at a higher frequency than the earth, we can avoid much of the transition that others are going through. We can avoid much of the ascension symptoms because we've already been there and done that. We don't have to repeat it. Okay? Now, in our emotional body, oh my goodness, the biggest thing we have to get rid of is the fear. And the belief that we're sinners, that we're not good enough. Any belief that is limiting or is negative needs to be transformed to love. We need to feel the at-one-ment that we have, not only within ourselves, that is our physical, mental, emotional, and soul body, all being one, being a vessel, a vehicle through which the divine experiences and express, but feeling the at-one-ment with our environment, in our relationships with others, even people that are not thinking like we're thinking. They still need to be loved. They still need to feel that they're accepted, that they're okay. And no matter where you're at, you can help them feel that way. All right? And the shift in focus from self to others, shifting from service to self to service to others, is a big step in this. Another big step is the feelings of gratitude. Instead of focusing on what is wrong or what it is you want and don't have, focus on gratitude for what you do have. And the more you have gratitude, the more you are going to attract to yourself, to your family, to your home. And you're going to attract that you are expressing gratitude for, because like attracts like, all right? So don't focus on the negatives. Don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on what you don't have. Just know that what you want, it's already on its way to you. You're the one that's going to attract it. You may even play a role in creating it. All right? So that's how you can deal with the ascension symptoms with all three of your bodies. Now I'm going to turn you over to Ortrun so she can share her thoughts with you.
Well, first and foremost, I have a question for you, Carl. You have said that really that not much of the Earth is in the third dimension anymore. Is that correct?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And what does that mean?
That means that most of the Earth is in the fourth and fifth dimension. And it will not allow that is purely third dimensional and harmful to a large number of people or life on the planet. It's not going to support that. Because we all have free will, that imposes some limitations on the Earth. So things that are created by humans, the Earth does not have total control over, but the Earth has total control over what actions by humans it's going to support and not support. And we also have another factor here. We have our space brothers and sisters who are inundating the Earth with their high-frequency energy, with their love, their caring, their concern. And if some group or country wants to start, for example, World War III, one thing that will not work are their atomic weapons. They're not going to be allowed, by universal law, they are forbidden on the Earth at this time, all right? So the Earth has limitations, and what is still occurring on a third dimensional level is that is surfacing to be cleared. And there's an awful lot of institutions, governments, economies, religions, etc., created by humans that are now coming to the surface. These secrets are being exposed so that corrections can be made. And there are going to be many things that are going to disintegrate, crumble, fall apart, or cease to function, so that they can be replaced by things that are coming out of a fifth, high fourth, or a fifth level of consciousness.
Well, with that being said, those individuals that choose to stay in the third dimension, since we still aren't in the third dimension, so what occurs here, with them, because the Earth is already, you're saying, actually functioning at the fourth and fifth dimension, right?
The planet itself, yes.
Okay. So are these individuals, they have the choice of also being uplifted, going into the fourth dimension and then on to the fifth.
Ortrun, Carl, are you there?
As far as I know, at an all-time high in regarding the records that we have of that, because more and more people are exiting the planet because they're not comfortable here, because their frequency is not in harmony with the Earth. And also, a lot of the work that I do has to do with these lower frequency, powerful dark beings that are on the astral plane and on the earth plane. It used to be that I would call on archangels to round them up and remove them from the earth. I'm still doing that. But it's amazing. On some days, there will be tens of thousands of these, what I call dark lords, that have voluntarily come and asked to be removed from the planet because they're so uncomfortable here, because they're in such disharmony between them and the earth is not supporting them. So they want to leave. They want to go someplace where they're not, it's not so uncomfortable and painful for them to be.
Okay. I was looking through some of the things that we studied really quite a while ago. I don't know how many years we've had our website, but I know on our website we have some free things that we give away. And I just want to direct you to that. And our spiritual ascension, our spiritualascension.com is our website. And we have a page that's called Free Gifts. You can either get to that on the home page on the left-hand side, the second button down, the blue button, it will take you there. Otherwise, our spiritualascension.com/free_gifts. And there on that page, we have some things, some articles at the bottom that talk about various things. It talks about, the crystal indigo children. It talks about the new earth, various things, the spirit realm, the alpha state, many things, which are all really, really good for us to know and understand so that we can more fully understand what we're going through when we are going, through these different ascension changes and also the remedies. There's a list there of that also, so that you can have an idea what to do as you're going through these different things. One of the articles that we really focused on quite a few years ago, Carlos called it The Big Picture, and it's by Susanna Thorpe Clarke. And her thing was the ascension changes and remedies. And one of the statements that she makes, which I think is really, really interesting, because we talk about the DNA strands, right? And she's saying, like what you said earlier in the program, that we're formed carbon-based, right? Which is that two-strand DNA. She went on to say as much that our DNA is being changed to the crystalline, right? Which is up to 1,024 strands of DNA. And that's what we can actually get up to, is that many strands of DNA. Doesn't that seem really, really high?
I think she's talking long term here. I don't think that we're going to attain that in this lifetime or even in the fifth dimension. When we're getting up into the 10th, 11th dimensions, I think that's what those numbers are alluding to.
Okay. One of the things that she also, of course, focuses on is symptoms. And I think these symptoms are quite common. And I think sometimes they're a little bit more even enhanced right now, it seems, because the energy is so much stronger right now. And especially being unaware that this is also really something of assisting us in our growth and understanding, that will help us to relieve those symptoms somewhat easier. But some of the symptoms that she's speaking about, and you can get a full list of this if you want to on our website, are flu-like symptoms or migraine headaches, runny noses, dizziness, ringing of the ears, heart palpitations. And also there's bigger ones than that, immune system changes and lymphatic changes and bouts of depression. And also the sense of this, you mentioned it today, is the relationships, our past relationships, because we've held on to so many different things from old relationships. And so many of those are coming up now. And so we need to get that clarity. So, and then are releasing much anxiety and stress. So all of those things are occurring or can occur during this time as we're going through this process of change, moving from the third into the fifth dimension. And so there are also ways that you can help that. One of them, first and foremost, is to recognize, what we're mentioning today, is that these are actually signs that we are growing and recognizing that we're not being punished, or, oh no, not this again, but actually recognize, okay, this is something I signed up for. None of us would be going through these things if we didn't choose to be here upon the planet at this time to help assist the planet in its upliftment. So, unbeknownst to us, of course, because our minds are basically wiped clean before we came into this planet, we really didn't know, and we really didn't even know at that point in time how these things would actually turn out for us, and the kind of interesting, I'm going to say, ways that we were going to be challenged in our growth, but it's because we have chosen to have ourselves grow more in awareness and consciousness and go into those higher levels of understanding, but also to assist and help our brothers and sisters here upon the planet. So to recognize, first and foremost, that this is part of the journey. I think recognizing that helps in itself because then you know there's a purpose. And I know there are so many people on the planet that ask, what was my purpose? What is my purpose? Everyone wants to be out there teaching and being up front. I'm not saying everyone, but many, many do, and they feel like they'd really love to do that. When that isn't their purpose, that's not what they signed up for on this journey. So recognize that you are a link in this whole process of upliftment of our planet, and that you have that purpose. In your meditation, recognize that you are part of this plan, and start having more and more of a relationship with your spirit guides and your angels and your masters and your teachers, and recognize and draw them into your life every single day, especially morning and night. Do that. But then also throughout the day, acknowledge them. When things start feeling like this, when you're having maybe some heart palpitations or whatever it might be, call upon them to be with you and be part of this journey. They know how to help you uplift somewhat, to be more comfortable, to show you the way of being more comfortable while you're going through these different types of changes.
What Ortrun is saying is very, very true. And please, please, please ask them for help. If you try to do this alone, it's going to be overwhelming. But if you're working with not only your spirit family, but also with your divine soul, we're all here to play a role in recreating a new earth, all right? Which means we're here to help cleanse the old earth so that it can be recreated on a higher level. And we're here to cleanse and to create. And we are all co-creators with the primary creator, and we're creating on the surface of the earth. And we're going to recreate governments, religions, economies, healthcare, educational systems, society, cultures, etc. And what a learning opportunity that is for us. What a challenge it is. But the amount that we can learn from it are phenomenal. And going back to the earth symptoms, one of the things that we find many light workers doing is they're not only working on themselves, but they're clearing ancestral energies that are negative, that are limiting, that need to be taken care of. They need to be gotten off of the planet. And by getting rid of it, it's going to assist some of your ancestors that are long deceased. They will feel the effect of your doing it. And your descendants that come after you will not be impacted by these same situations if you deal with them now. So when things come into your life, you can ask, is this for my personal growth, or am I clearing out an old, negative, limited ancestral energy? And that's a tremendous service that you can give. And I don't think it was until we hit roughly the fourth dimension that we even knew we could do this. And now that we know that we can do it, it's happening in... Anyway, we have many light workers are dealing with that, with the ancestral energies at this time. So you can ask clarification on that if you like.
Well, I agree with Carl, and I know that's something I've been working with for many, many years. I don't know about you. Maybe all your life you've been really positive and felt good about everything. I really didn't because I had many, many things I was being bombarded with, losing a child and getting a divorce and losing my parents and going through the war, all kinds of things. And then you ask that question, why me? And that's the way you feel. You're always thinking, why am I being bombarded with this? You don't quite understand it. But recognize that also was part of that process of pushing you into the realization you would not have been given huge challenges on this earth plane if you were not someone that was of great power. So look at your life and see the things that you've experienced in your life and recognize if there are huge challenges. The reason why you're here listening to this program actually is because you are made up of huge things that you can handle those situations. So realize that those were all there for your good, for your learning, and start that releasing and do it easier, more easily. Be willing to do it. Because that's another thing that causes those symptoms is that we're holding on and, maybe possibly not forgiving ourselves. We don't know even what we're forgiving ourselves for sometimes, but we do. And this ancestral thing, we chose different things that have occurred in our ancestral lives, of all the families that have been part of this and all the people, because that was something before we ever came to the planet, we chose to help overcome. And if you look close enough, you might see, oh my gosh, I got the same illness that this other individual had, from back when, even maybe your mother or father or so on. I have a skin issue, various things like that. I myself have seen how that's one of the things that I've worked with this process of DNA, clearing up the DNA, is I've seen that my mother had horrible skin. She looked like a skin factory. She'd walk along and she'd flake. I have some skin issues, but not nearly what my mother had. And she worked on that also. And I give thanks to her all the time. Thank you for doing your part, because, yes, I'm finishing up on this, but this is nothing compared to what she experienced. So look at your life and look and see the things that you have in your life and how you might think they're negative, but you are truly assisting your family, your generations, and really everyone on the planet.
I want to conclude with this thought. And one word, gratitude. Give thanks, whether it's a problem, a challenge, an opportunity. They're all the same. They're all opportunities to learn, to grow, to assist. So if ever you're feeling down or out of sorts, just sit down, close your eyes, and remember all of the things. Think of all of the things that you have gratitude for. You're glad that they're in your life, even the challenges. And you have a wonderful, wonderful day and a great month. And know that our love, our care, our concern goes with you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Yes, time flies, so it is that time for us to be saying goodbye, but we are looking forward to seeing you again next month. If you have any questions, please post them on our Facebook page, the Earth Ascension with Ortrun and Carl Franklin, and then we will take a look at them and get back with you. Okay? Yes, or you can email us, which is Ortrun, ORTRUN 71 @AOL.com. Have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful month, and we will see you again.
And thank you for everything that you're doing to help humanity and the planet.
Bye-bye now.